Hello and welcome to Tricks of the Astray channel. Today is the 25th of June 2017, and on today's video we have Gabby Douglas. Now before I get into Gabby Douglas, I would just like to say, if it's your first time on the channel and this is your first time watching the video, I would advise that you pause this video right here and go look for the primer video on this channel first, because if you do not watch the primer video, a lot of the things that I'm gonna say is not gonna make any sense to you. You're gonna be asking questions and saying, what is he talking about? You won't have the basics or the foundation right for you to keep watching videos on this channel. So you need to watch the primer video first. I'm gonna show you in a second how to get to the primer video on this channel. So let me show you how to get to the primer video. The primer video will be, I think, one of the oldest videos on this channel. It's named primer, just like I say right there. So that's the primer video. You need to watch it. If you don't, a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna say isn't gonna make any sense to you. So also, there's a document that's attached to every video on this channel. When you pick up a video, any video at all, you have that document. So all you need to do is go to the description section of any video, click on show more like I'm doing right now, and you find a link right there. When you click on that link, it will take you to this document. It's called Male versus Female Visual Differences. You need to study this document if you're interested in transgenders, because even though this channel features a lot of transgenders, the channel is not about transgenders. The reason why we talk about transgenders is because they're fruits of the tree that you can see, that you can relate to. All right, the tree itself is the Vatican, the root is the Vatican. All right, but the fruits that you can see, so you can identify what type of tree that you're looking at, is the transgenders. It's not a transgender channel. If you're interested in pure transgendering, I expect that you study this document. If you've not studied this document and you ask me a question about transgenders, I may or may not answer, because I have to refer you to this document. You just need to study this document and keep training your eyes to see. You can do this at home. You can look nude at yourself. You can call anybody who's nude, who of the opposite sex, who would want to strip for you, so you can actually see if what I'm saying or if the document is actually correct or not. Because truth being told, all right, we are all scientists. You don't need to go to a school and get a degree to be a scientist. All you need to do is observe, make observations away from what you've been told. Make real observations. We are all scientists. There's no need for you to go to school to be a scientist. You can observe things around you away from what you've been told or what you've been taught or indoctrinated in schools or whatever the case might be. Look at it yourself and then you see. That's how science is studied. All right, or that's how science is made, by observation. You do the observations away from whatever you've been told, and you get to find out if what you're looking at is real, it's true, or what they say. And that's what a document does. A document is based on observation, things that you can relate to every single day. So if you're purely interested in transvestigation, even though we feature a lot of transgenders on our channel, the channel is not a transgender channel. We are dedicated to showing you truth. All right, so because a lot of people don't understand how to make sense of the world, we're trying to show you how everything connects, that everything happens for a reason. All right, so you can understand and make the connections. So when stuff's happening around you, you just think it's random or it's coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. You actually know what's going on. So this document you have to study if you're purely interested in transgenders only, because some people come to the channel and I talk about a lot of stuff from beginning to end, and the only part they hear or the attention is fixed on is the transgenders. All right, so if you're interested in that, please study the document. I may or may not answer any questions if you do not or have not studied the document. So with that said, I'd like to welcome you to the channel. And and as I usually say before I get deeply into anything, I would like to let you guys know that we are not against transgenders. We are not against anybody who wants to live an alternative lifestyle in any way, shape, or form. We have no authority over transgenders to judge a transgender. All right? We have no authority over anybody who's reached the age of adulthood. That means you've reached an age in which you can make a decision and think for yourself, not being influenced by people, but you make that decision on your own after careful thought, and you're an adult. We're not against you in any shape or form. That's your life. God gave each and every one of us he gave us the authority. He gave us the ability to live your life any type of way. He gave you full reign over your life to make whatsoever decisions you want to make and live any type of way. And he remains the judge and not us. Right? He gave you the right to your own life, to live your life the way you want it. So if you're an adult and you make the decision and say you want to live a hoax and a fantasy of being a gender that's different from the gender that you were born with, that's totally up to you. All right? We have no such things against transgenders or homosexuals or anybody who wants to live an alternative lifestyle. So with that said, like I've always said, and I need to say it clearly so you can hear it, all right, that the people who are behind taking kids, manufacturing kids, maybe through in vitro fertilization, and providing the surrogate parents to carry these babies, and when these babies are born, these babies are taken, right, castrated or mutilated as the case may be, forced and fed hormones to live in a sex and gender that's not the sex and gender that we're born with, as products so they can be used for whatsoever the Vatican deems fit, right, to be used for their own tools. So this is the best one of this is one of the best ways I can explain it. Okay, if you have a company, right, let's say you have a very big company, and you want the company to run very efficiently. You're finding people you can trust to run your company. Now the question I'm going to ask you is this: who are you going to trust the most? Are you going to trust somebody that you raised, let's say a son or daughter, somebody that you raised, or will you trust somebody else that you do not know that you have to hire from outside to run your company? I am sure the answer would be someone that you've raised. So that's what the Vatican does. They raise these children as products for them to be used to run the company. So they put them in very in different spheres of life and aspects of life to be gatekeepers, loyal servants that they can trust. All right, that's why you need to watch the primer video, because I explain that so that you can understand what's really going on here. So it's the Vatican that's behind this, because they own everything. They own everything. Literally, when I mean that, I mean that. They have their hands in everything, from the shower heads in your houses, in your apartments, to the underwear that you wear. It doesn't matter what name brand you have. The Vatican has somebody in it. Proxies they use, families they create to use to run the world, so you would not know that it is them. All right, so it's the Vatican. So now, before I get into Gabby Douglas, as usual, I always like, just sharing some of my thoughts. Now, one of the thoughts I want to share with you is that if you ever, because I always say on this channel that you can't trust anybody you see on TV. You can't trust your so-called pastors, because they don't tell you any truth. And I've told you the reasons why they don't tell you any truth is because, one, any pastor who doesn't tell you that the Vatican is your number one problem, is the greatest problem in the world, all right, the greatest enemy of humanity, is not telling you the truth. The second thing, all right, This most of these organizations called churches, I call them indoctrination centers, are all schooled by the Vatican. All right? The people running it are Freemasons owned by the Vatican. It doesn't matter if his name happens to be Kenneth Copeland. It doesn't matter if his name is Joel Austin. It doesn't matter if his name is what's his name again? This guy, this man from Houston. Is it Houston or Texas or Dallas, Texas? T.D. Jakes. Doesn't matter if his name is T.D. Jakes or Creflo Dollar. They are all Freemasons because they never tell you the truth. So one of the things I wanted to say is, for example, when you meet someone and he tells you that he's a man of God, because that's the term that most likely use. They say, I'm a man of God, or they say stuff like, God revealed this to me, I had it through revelation. All right, you should run as fast as you can, because they're most likely telling you a lie. You'll never hear me say, amongst everything that I say, that God revealed this to me. I never say so, because I don't want to lead anybody astray. I want to give you the truth the way it is. God inspires, don't get me wrong. God can inspire you to do something. If you believe in the true God of the Bible, of the Geneva Bible and the King James Bible, all right, he can inspire you. He doesn't speak through me, all right? He inspires me. I get the knowledge that I get. I can say I get the knowledge that I get, but with facts. So anybody who tells you he's a man of God or blah, 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 whatsoever, and does not have any facts to back up what he's saying in the physical world, not abstract things, things that you can relate to and see physically, all right? You should run away. Don't listen to that person. He's probably going to lead you astray, okay? So that's one of the things I wanted to let you guys know. And another thing I wanted to let you know that you have to be careful. Like I've always said, do not trust anybody you see on TV. If you happen to see me on TV, all right, and they say this is tricks of the astray that you've heard about on TV, please do not listen to me anymore. That means I have been bought and vetted. TV tells you a vision. That's the meaning of television. Tell a vision means tell you a vision. It doesn't mean it's true. It's a lie. A lot of people get their source of information from TV and they're getting indoctrinated. They're getting killed. For example, Oprah. Oprah has killed more people with her words than with anything else that she's ever done. Because Oprah is there to indoctrinate you, tell you lies. It doesn't matter what name they come from. Oprah has sent so many people to their graves early from her words, because she's a Freemason as well, led by the Vatican to indoctrinate you and control your mind. Because like I've always said, you can't control anybody unless you control their minds. That's just the way it works. If you can't control my mind, you can't control me. All right? So I want you guys to remember that, please. And also, before I get into the video properly, now I have to put up some warnings, all right? If you do not like truth, if the truth is something that you're not very comfortable with, advise you to pause the video right here and do not watch it further from this point, because I'm going to speak some truth. And sometimes truth hurts if you do not like it. All right? Another thing, there are channel rules in place in leaving comments. If you're going to leave a comment about a transgender, you're going to argue against or for someone, you have to provide facts. You have to provide links to the pictures and videos that you use as facts. All right? Otherwise, those comments are going to be deleted. And those facts have to be centered around the fact that the female skeletal structure is designed to give birth. And so because of that design, the female skeletal structure has an S-shaped spine, all right, or an arch in the back, a tilted pelvis forward so that a baby can stay inside the womb, a wide pubic arch, 120 degrees or more for the pubic arch, in which males have 90 degrees or less, and also the hips are of a female. The hip joints, or the trochanter in technical terms, hang below the crotch. So if your comments do not provide those facts, please don't make any assumptions. Don't say I think. Don't even put the person's name on the comment, because to me that sounds like mudslinging. You know, a lot of us don't like people calling us names or saying we are something with no facts. If you're gonna call me a thief, you should provide the facts that I stole from you. You just can't label my and mudsling my name throughout without providing facts. That's just the way I reason. Okay? So if your comments don't start with that, and you start talking about Adonis belts, index fingers or ring fingers longer, or longer arms and jaw lines and all that, I'm going to delete the comment, because you're not saying anything that has to do with childbirth. Index fingers, ring fingers, jaw lines, long arms, long legs, long torso do not have anything to do with birth. They don't give birth. That makes complete logical sense. So if the comments include that, it's going to get deleted. That's it. And another thing, please leave children out of it. Because some people just talk about like Blue Ivy in Jay-Z's kid and saying, is he transgender? That's a kid. Let the kid grow. If you want to call it something, let the kid grow. Let kids be kids, for crying out loud. When they grow up and reach the age in which you can question about their sexuality, then you can do so. But let these children be children. I'm sure we wouldn't like people calling out our children, if you have one, right, names, when the kid is not innocent. It doesn't even know. All right? Remember when you were a kid, you were innocent. So let kids be kids. Leave the kids out of it. So nobody should be sending me any comments about kids or what this kid or not. No, let the kid grow. When he reaches the age in which we can say, okay, blah, 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 then we can talk about it then. But for now, let's leave it aside. All right? So please remember that before going on to, before leaving any comment on the channel. All right? So before I get into the video on Gabby Douglas, I know I've talked a bit for now. I just wanted to bring a comment that I did see here. Now, this comment actually comes from I don't know if it's a girl, it's a guy. I'm just trying to show you how brainwashed people are. And the comment here says is from Jackie Halaby, right? Or Halaby. I don't know how to pronounce the name right. He said, you can't say that transgender women are not women. And that is on Marilyn Monroe video. Now, this is one of the brainwashing, confusion that the Vatican breeds. So before I even talk about the comment, you have to understand this. You know how sometimes, men and women, maybe you're a man and you're a woman, all right? And you wonder about how the opposite sex feels or does things. So for example, someone could question, if you're a dude, you could ask questions like, okay, how does it feel to be a woman? I mean, how does it feel to have like maybe a female genitalia or something like that? I want you guys to know that immediately you start asking those questions beyond the normal answer that a woman gives you, you have to know that that's one of the tricks of the devil, of those demonic forces which the Vatican has been listening to and has programmed into the world and into TV. Those are one of the demons who are trying to force ideas about you to be confused about your sex. Don't question what a woman or a man, how it feels to have a genitalia or not. Those are one of the tricks of how the demon gets into your mind. And before you know it, when you dwell upon it for so long, it floods your mind and controls you. And the next thing that you start thinking about is starting to think about that you ought to be in a gender that's different from yours. It's just a warning that so you know what's going on when those thoughts come into your mind. Thoughts do not just drift into your mind. There are things around you that impel those thoughts, that inspire those thoughts. So you have to be careful, all right? It's just my own observation that I made. All right. Now the reason why I said this is because this person asked me a question here, who's Jackie Halabar, and she said, "You can't say that transgender women are not women." From me, I know from the get-go that this is a thinking that is inspired by devils themselves. Because you have to understand that a man carries XY chromosome in his body. A female carries XX chromosome. Two X's make you a woman. One X and one Y makes you a man. So how in the world can a transgendered man be female when everything is wrapped around in the DNA? The DNA still remains XY. No matter the estrogen the man takes, no matter the surgery he goes through to try to look feminine, no matter the breasts he grows or implants, the DNA is still XY. That is not a woman. That is a man. So the Vatican, who's at the forefront of all of this, confuse people. So even though you're looking at a transgender, because your mind has been tuned, your mind has been brainwashed, your mind has been trained, you get confused and you think that a man can turn into a woman or a woman can turn into a man, vice versa. It can't. It's not possible. The chromosomes and DNA are stamped. It's XX for a female and XY for a man. So that's just what I wanted, one of the comments that I wanted to bring to your attention so you can note. Now, before I get into I'm still talking right now, as usual, because I always like sharing what I have with everybody else. There is something that I was thinking about, and I thought that I should talk about. Now, here is a map of the world. Now, this is the true map of the world. If it was your first time, this is like they call it the flat Earth map. The map, all right. The world is actually flat, all right. And this is how we're supposed to be looking at it, but the Vatican doesn't want you to know. But one thing I did notice, one thing that brought to my attention why I'm showing up this map is because I've traveled a lot around the world, all right. I've been to a lot of places traveling, and most of those times I've been flying. Now the reason why I bring this up is because most flights, you've probably heard most times that the transatlantic route is a very, very busy route. Now why is that so? Just by looking at this map, you could see this is the tip of Alaska over here in Russia, and here is America, right? And here is Europe, right? You should now see the reason why the transatlantic flight goes through this area, because this is the Atlantic Ocean into Europe, which is all over here. You have England like right here, Denmark around there, and this is the tip of Spain and all that. So every flight goes through this way because it's shorter. Even if you're going through, you want to reach a place like Australia, what they usually do is fly you down into Europe here and then go straight down because it's shorter flying that way. If you were to fly this other way, the Pacific route, it's a very long route. It's not economical for planes because you're burning more jet fuel than usual. Now, the reason why I'm talking all about this is because I've been thinking. Now these are my thoughts from here on now, so please, nobody should ask me questions. I'm just sharing what I think, okay? These are my thoughts. I have no facts on the next couple of statements that I'm gonna make. These are just my thoughts, all right? Now, so what happened here was there was one time, let me say one time, a couple of times I've noticed that anytime I fly through the transatlantic route, once we get to Greenland, because this is Greenland right here. Let me try to blow this up if I can. So Greenland is right around here, and this is the continental United States. If I fly through the United States down here into Europe, somewhere around here, I notice there's always a lot of turbulence around this point. Once you get to Greenland and get past it as you're heading to Europe, there's always a lot of turbulence. Because I remember one time flying, if I can remember the flight was a Virgin Atlantic flight to London, England. There was so much turbulence that me as a person, I thought the plane was gonna crash. All right, that there was no way we're gonna make it out of this flight alive. It was very, very horrible. I mean, people were crying inside the flight. They were, I mean, people were hysterical, all over because it was horrible. It was horrible. We had turbulence for close to like 3 fucking hours. I'm not. Did I use that word? I'm sorry. I shouldn't be cursing here. We had turbulence for 3 hours. All right, and it was so horrible. Like the plane was like dropping out of the sky all the time, and people were crying. Babies were crying. Everybody was giving. I was like, I myself inside the flight, I was like, okay, this has to be it. Okay, thank you, Father. I'm fine. Let's go. All right. I thought that was gonna be it. Now, most times when I'm flying still across the Atlantic, but not through that busy route right here in busy route here in Greenland, there are other flights that go through this other area. So if I'm going to places like, I would say like South Africa, or direct flight to like South Africa, direct flight to any place around that's, in this southernmost tip. What I did notice that when we flew through at the Atlantic through that side, there was less turbulence. It was smooth sailing. I don't ever recall having such a bad flight, right, to the southernmost tip of like South Africa and having that much turbulence. So I started questioning a lot of things. Now, here is why I'm saying all this. If you guys know, every compass in the world points north. So if this is the true map of the world, that means every compass in the world points in this direction, north here. All right, right towards the center. So what is it at the center that makes all compasses point north? So here is my thought on what I'm thinking. Because the Vatican has quadrant off the southern pole. You can travel beyond a certain distance to the South Pole, and you can travel a certain distance up to the North Pole, which I'm talking about right here. So the Vatican has quadrant off the North Pole. You can travel beyond a certain distance. It's like they seal it off. All right, you're not allowed to go in there. So what I'm thinking in my mind is like, there is some land right here in the North Pole, which is, let me say, a magnet that has magnetic properties. I don't know what type. This is just my thoughts, because based on the turbulence that I had, that I've had flying through the Atlantic route, I have to think that there is a mountain here, magnetic mountain in the middle of, let me say properly, magnetic land in the middle of the North Pole, which the Vatican knows about. They don't want anybody going down there because it will still show you evidence that God created this world. Because if we notice, everything that spins around us, all right, the sun, the moon, and stars all spin around this North Pole. That means there is something right in here that's controlling the constellation and the movement of the stars. All right? This is my thoughts. Because based on the turbulence, because planes are made of metal, it seems like this magnetic North Pole drags the plane. That's the reason why it has that much turbulence when you're flying over Greenland into the United Kingdom. But if you fly far lesser away from this magnetic north planes, there's far less turbulence. These are my thoughts based on the experiences that I've had flying across the transatlantic route closer to Greenland. And I just thought I should share this with people so they could understand, because maybe they've gone through the same thing and they never ever knew what was going on. So those are my thoughts for now. So, before I get into Gabby Douglas, I want to talk about one comment that a woman left me. Um, if you guys want to read the comments on this particular lady, you can actually go look. You can type in Kenna G right there, and the video would be the Beyonce transgender transsexual fake twins pregnancy update part number 6. All right, you can follow that right there. You can pause the video and you can go look up this particular comment. Now, there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. I won't talk about the details of the comment, but it is just something that she said that I thought I should talk about today, right? Now, this lady said, I am very careful in my word choice, but you seem to take issue with female subscribers more than you do males. And I was surprised at this statement. I was really, really surprised. Because, I mean, if you read through the conversation of what we had, it had no need for her to say this. Because, in the first place, even though I can see that there's a picture of a female profile on this particular account that it's commenting from, I have never met her in person. So I don't know if she's a real female, because some people, how some people can put up a picture of someone on their profile page, but which is not them, and just talk, maybe a profile of your son, daughter, wife, girlfriend, or whosoever that you like, a celebrity or whatever, but it's not really you, right? So when she said this, I was like, why would she say such a thing if she's really she? Because I don't even know her. So for her to even say that I take issue with female subscribers more than I do with males. On this particular channel, I try to be as fair as possible. If I'm blunt to one person, because people mistake me being blunt for being rude, I just like saying the truth, or saying, I don't know how to mix words. I just say it like it is. That's the best way I can put it. So maybe she's heard that I addressed it this way, and she's saying that I have, problem with female subscribers. But what she doesn't know is that I have a lot of respect for women. I have a mother. I'm very respectful of my mom. I have met so many great, good women. I respect women more than anything. In short, if I don't know how the best way to say it, but in my opinion, all right, women are a gift because they are the foundation of this world that we live in. So I don't see how anybody should not respect a woman. Okay? Now, why am I saying all this? I'm saying this because I want to address women to know who they are. Because when you know who you are, you're gonna be what you are. Now, one of the things I wanted to say is that Kenna G right here doesn't know who she is, if the person from that account is actually a she. Because she doesn't know for a fact that women are the strongest biologically of our own species. What am I saying? A woman biologically is stronger than a male. A man just has more strength than a female because he has much more testosterone, which builds muscle, which equals strength. But biologically, all right, women are stronger than men. So what am I saying? For example, a woman is built to carry 2 or more people biologically. A man is not built that way. So that's why a woman is far stronger. So a woman, for example, females in general, live longer than males. A woman recovers quickly from sickness more than a man. A female has a shorter recovery time in anything that she does. If she's working out, she has a shorter recovery time than a man. She's biologically stronger, all right, than men. And they're the foundation of this world, because anybody that comes through this world comes through a woman. So you can see how strong that is. Men are the pillars of the world, are the pillars of society, but women are the foundation of it. Okay? So this is why I had to, just bring this up to make a woman or women understand that they are the biologically superior beings to us men in this world, and they should not think of themselves any lesser. All right? Now, what am I saying? Am I saying because women are biologically stronger that they are equal to a man? Of course not. I'm not saying that, because let's judge from facts now. All right? A woman carries XX chromosome. A man carries XY. So right there, you're not equal. You carry XX. He carries both of you and some of him. You're not equal. Also, a man's brain, usually, in most cases, let me not say usually, a man's brain is 10% bigger than that of a female. So right there, you guys can be equal. All right? The only thing that's making this whole propaganda, of making women to believe that are equal to men is because the Vatican wants to effeminize dudes, because they know women can never be equal to a man. They know that. So what they do is to effeminize the dudes, right, by taking away their manhood, taking away the right to be a man, and then masculize the women, which they know will never happen. So they force feed all this into the female consciousness that they can be like dudes. It's a lie. It's not possible. Okay? So women have a lot of power, but they don't just know that. So for example, let me just give you a typical example, best way I could say it. A man and a woman, all right? A man, the story that maybe you probably heard this song before, that I'm trying to recall who the singer is. I think it's Michael Bolton. When a man loves a woman, he'll sleep out in the rain, or something like that, When a man loves a woman, he will do anything. And that's how women are supposed to know that they are strong. Because you can talk to the man who loves you, and he will do anything for you. All right? So that's the strength that women have. All right? So the reason why I'm talking all this is because it's been so successful that the Vatican has effeminized men, because it knows that successful women can never be pillars of society, because it's not in them to do so. Because once that's done, once that they can effeminize men, there is nobody to stand up to them, to the Vatican, because a woman can never do what a man does. It's not just built, they were not just built that way. They were built as foundations, the startup for life. And men are supposed to be the pillars. That means everything else is supposed to be on top of the men. So the reason why, like I've said, that they keep doing this is because they take away the manhood of the man, they effeminize the men, so that there is nobody to stand up to them. So typical example I could use, maybe this is going to be very, very clear and you could understand. For example, I've said in a lot of videos, and now I'm not going to answer any question based on this, because the next comments I'm going to talk about right now, I've said it on the Shakira video, I've said it on the Kevin Bacon video. So I'm using this as an example in this particular video of what I'm going to say. Now, The best example I can put is this: when the Vatican is masculinizing people, the first step, sorry, effeminizing people, effeminizing men, the first step they do is that they make men to be in touch with their emotions. All right. So you can see right now there's a lot of I mean, you have a lot of men acting like women nowadays. So for example, you find that men are gossiping. They talk about sports like they live for sports, like their lives cannot go on without sports. They talk about clothes and shoes like females should. And I mean, they beef on social media like a woman should. I mean, when a man is supposed to, like, act like a man. If you have a problem with another man, you call him up on the phone, all right, and not be putting it up on social media. They don't even know what the meaning of social media is for, all right. They beef on social media like females. They can't sit down and talk like men. I mean, that's how it's so sad that the Vatican has effeminized men up to this point. All right, it's horrible. So for example, that's one of the steps, all right, in the effeminization of men, is to make men to be in touch with their emotions. Men are not supposed to be leading from the emotions, but they're supposed to be leading from their reasoning, all right, not from their emotions. There's a reason why a woman is led from emotions, is because she's the foundation of this world. If she's not emotionally attached to it, she can make it work. That's just the way it is. So it's more like if you build something, all right, when you build a foundation for anything, the first thing you have to pour in is called mortar, all right, or they call it, is it the right word? I think it's mortar. It's made from cement. You probably heard of that. The first thing that is done when you're trying to build any house is you pour in mortar, a mixture of cement and some other things to to stick to the ground, and then from then you put maybe your whatever, like rocks or whatever you have to build on, like your concrete slabs and steel rods inside. So the emotions of a woman, all right, the way I'm explaining it, the emotions of a woman is that mortar. Without that emotion, she can't stick. That's the best way I can explain it. Without the emotions of a female, all right, it won't stick. Without mortar, all right, the rocks or the concrete slabs will not stick. Does it make sense? Okay? So that is the reason for the emotions. Men are not supposed to be led from their emotions. Because I've said that before. Your emotions are for you. It's for you to interact with your physical world. All right? It's not for you to be led by it. But the Vatican has been so successful in effeminizing men that men are now such emotional creatures. It is horrible. They're even more emotional than the woman they are with. It's crazy. All right? And now they've done all of this, to everybody. So one of the best ways I can make it, for example, is like when the Vatican wants to bring down the pillars of society, it has to make sure that it takes out the males. So in this example, I'm using black males. Now, the reason why a lot of black males are in prison, not because they are doing more wrong than anybody else, is because the Vatican wants to weaken the black population. Why is it interested in weakening the black population, as I've said on the Shakiri video? Because the natural tendency for all human beings is to be black. That's the natural state. Now, secondly, the propaganda campaign that black people in the Americas came from Africa is a lie. All right? Now, since men are supposed to be the pillars of society, because men are supposed to teach children and teach their younger ones, pass on their history, pass on knowledge so they can grow. So when you take out the males who are supposed to be the pillars of society, what do you have? You have no knowledge left in the society. So in this example, they've taken out the black males to prison. All right. So they are no longer there to build a society and to let their people know the real knowledge of their history, that they did not come from Africa, but they are the native aboriginal people of the Americas. Because the one thing that the Vatican doesn't play with, they can get away with everything else, but there are two things, or like say three things, that will bring the Vatican down very, very quickly. One is God Almighty. So anything that has to do with God, they have to counter it on every basis, because it will bring them down quick. The second thing is the Bible, the King James Bible and the Geneva Bible. All right? Because they had nothing to do with its translation or how those Bibles came about, especially the Geneva Bible, which contains the notes which let people know that the Vatican is the enemy of all humanity. All right? So they won the lesser of the two evils, since the King James Bible, which was translated by King James, right, because he was Protestant, removed the notes that the Geneva Bible had. They want people to read that more. So that's why in all, the indoctrination centers called churches, they go after the King James, because it doesn't contain those notes. So that's the second thing that the Vatican doesn't want people to be aware of. The third thing is race. Because once everybody understands, all right, what race is about, it points its hand directly at the Vatican. Now, why am I saying so? Now, the Vatican today, right, is a white Vatican. It wasn't always white. The current iteration right now is white. And since the natural tendency, the natural state of all human beings is to be black, all right, the Vatican doesn't want people to know that. So every now and then, so when the subject of race comes up, they have to make sure that people don't understand it. Understand that we are all black. And as I've said before in the Shakira video, if you want to, I don't want to talk about it too much, that white people are black people who have lost the ability to produce melanin. Is a genetic abnormality, all right? That's all what it is. But the Vatican, who is white, doesn't want you to know that, because they want to remain in power. I mean, if you want to remain in power, you have to have a population that looks like you, that you're ruling over. Otherwise, you can't be in power. That's just the way it is. So they don't want people. Race is a very sensitive subject. So that's why I like talking about it, because the Vatican has made it that sensitive. So people don't understand what's really going on. So those are one of the three things that they, as much as possible, don't want people to have any knowledge of from. Because once you know about a race, then you know that the people who are running it are actually white. So every now and then, why do they misconstrue all sorts of things, all right, and do not let people know that blacks have been, all right, and are still the aboriginal, indigenous, native people of all lands? So, for example, Jamaicans are the natives to their land. They are not slaves from Africa. The Australian black aboriginal people, which the Vatican has slaughtered and almost exterminated, right, are the natives and aboriginal people of their own land. Those black Australians with nappy hair. The blacks of Tasmania, which the Vatican had totally wiped out, these people don't exist anymore, were original, the aboriginal people, or native, indigenous to their own lands. They were not from Africa. The blacks in Belize, all right, are native to their lands. They are not slaves who were transported from Africa and got lost on their way back and landed there. No, they are the natives of their own land. The black Samoans, they are natives of their own land. The blacks from Barbados, They're natives to their own land. The Dominicans, they're natives to their own land. And so have blacks been native to all lands of the world. It doesn't matter if it's Asia or Europe. Because the Vatican doesn't want people to know this, so they keep propagating race to keep themselves in power. So every now and then, when they notice, because the Vatican looks upon this and say, every 10 years, because the natural state of human beings is to be black. So every 10 years, because as long as you have black people around, they're always going to be mixing around. And since being black is the natural state, it will go black. So what the Vatican does every year is, after maybe every 10 years, they now take a look at the population. If they see that the population is getting darker, which means they don't have any people to support them as the ruling clan or people that they should rule over so they can stay in power, they go to China and Asia and bring all these Asians, light-skinned Asians, all right, or Arabians, into the United States or Europe, as the case may be, to make sure that they can still keep the balance, all right, of the whiteness. That's what the Vatican does. So you hear of all these crazy immigration policies that were happening throughout last year in Europe, and saying that they were moving people, and that Europe was talking about, immigration laws and all that stuff. It's to make sure that they maintain the whiteness in the population, because the natural tendency is for it to go to being black or darker. And once you have that, these so-called white people who run the Vatican right now cannot be in power. They're going to be usurped. That's just what's going on. But to make people confused, they ship in a few black people, all right, under those guise of immigration policy, so you don't see the bigger picture, the real agenda behind. So that is what is really going on. So the Vatican itself does all this to hide the truth about race, that we are all black. All right, they effeminize the dudes and masculines the females, and they know that a woman can never be as a man, all right, to weaken society so that they can be the only ones in control. That's the reason for all the social programs in this world, is to effeminize men. Because if a man can't take care of his family, all right, and the woman just has to look to social services, you've taken the man out of the picture. He's become effeminate. He's no longer a man. That's just what it is. So it was just my regular ramble that I just wanted to just share with you, so you can understand what's really going on, and that men should start acting like men, because this thing is getting horrible, because social media has turned men into some crazy women. You see 70-year-old men acting like females. It's horrible. Be a man, grow some cojones and act like one. Take care of your family. Try to be a man. All right, do what men are supposed to do. Leave knowledge behind. Not just money. Leave knowledge behind. Not just cars and clothes, which will fade away, but real knowledge. And build a society. Be what God made you to be. Be the pillars of society. Support your women. So all that I said just because of what Kennedy said right here. And so I want to get back to the subject of talking about Gabby Douglas. So before I get into Gabby Douglas, as usual, I always like playing a video clip so you can actually see where the female hip is at, and so you know how it's measured all around the world, standard where females' hips are supposed to be at. I'm gonna play the video, and then I'll show you something from the document. Then we get to Gabby Douglas. So here is the video. I want you to notice where the female hip is at, below the crotch. See how the female flares like into like some sort of triangle. The widest point she keeps spreading, and the widest point on where The spread terminates is below her crotch, as this woman is going to measure a tape around so you can see that. Okay, so the tape goes around, and you can see that's the widest point sticking out there. Now she's going to turn around so you see where it's at, below the crotch. All right, a female's hip always below the crotch, and the widest point is just slightly above the bum line. With a man's hip is always going to be above the crotch, not below it like a female. All right, so let's get into the document. And here is the document. Now, a woman always has to have an arch in her back because she's going to be pregnant and she's going to carry the weight of children. So she has to have an arch in the back for extra support to carry the weight of pregnancy. All right, so she always has a tilted pelvis forward because of that, so so the baby can stay inside the womb. Now, a man's back does not arch. A man's back is straight. If a man's back wants to arch, he's going to arch outside like a D or a P. I want you to remember those letters when you're looking for the arch, a P or a D. With a woman, it's a C or an S. A female's back will always arch more. If she wants to bend her back outwards, it's going to arch more than a man. It's going to arch in such a way that it looks like a humpback for a female. If she wants to bend it inwards, it's going to bend even more. You're going to see a very deep arch and a C because of the spine. All right? So it doesn't matter what the female looks like. As I'm scrolling down, I want to show you from my document. So it doesn't matter if the female is small or big, there's always going to be a C-shaped arch in the back and a pelvis tilted forward. Doesn't matter if she's small like the female on my right or big as the female on my left. She always has to have an arch in her back. All right. So it doesn't matter if the female's got muscles. This is a muscular female. You're still going to see that arch in the back. All right. Arch in the back. So I want you to take note of that. And let's go over to Gabby Douglas and show you what's wrong with Gabby. Now, here is Gabby. Remember, we showed you the female hip, all right? And we say the widest point in a female hip is supposed to be below the crotch, right? Below the crotch. Now, looking at this picture, where is the widest point on Gabby Douglas? I want you to make sure that this is Gabby just by the picture. Take a look again. Where's the widest point? Where does it tap her out? It's right here, above the crotch, showing you that Gabby was born male, transgendered female. Some more pics as we go through. All right, here is another picture. And what does Gabby have? The straight back of a man. There is no arch in that back. It's straight up and down. This is the back of a boy who has not been allowed to go through secondary male characteristics because he's been fed estrogen. Don't worry about the fake smile and makeup. He probably doesn't really know, or he probably knows and just can't tell because they're totally brainwashed. Totally brainwashed. The brainwashing of these young children is at a level that I can't even begin to speak about. It is horrible. Some more pictures of Gabby. Look at Gabby again, and what do you see? Remember, I told you about the arch in the back of a man, or how not the arch in the back of a man, but how a man's back looks like a P or a D. If you looked at this, what does this back look like? Is it a P? Yes. It's straight. There's no arch in this back. It goes straight into the pelvis. If it was a woman, there would be a deep C in here, so she can carry the weight of children. Some more pictures of Gabby. And look at this. Look at the muscular structure. Now I'm not saying that women can have muscles. Women can have muscles if you're not taking any, normal women will have muscles if they're not taking any testosterone, will be just like regular female muscle. It's gonna be small. It's not gonna have a lot of mass because a woman doesn't have the testosterone centers as much as men do. All right. Now look at this picture right here. Would you say that this is a woman? No. Look at how dense the muscular structure is, because this is a dude in heels, and you can see how awkward this looks. But this is what the so-called Vatican is going to pass off to you as a man, or sorry, as a woman. And this has won all the gymnastic medals, almost all of them in the Olympics. Is one of the greatest gymnasts of all time. They're all men. That's why they're beating up the females in the competition. All right, some more pictures. Look at Gabby again. Where is the widest point on Gabby's hips? Can you see that? Can you see where the comfort zone where Gabby is putting his hands at? Because I'm calling him a him now because he's a dude. All right. Can you see how large those arms are? Because this is a dude, not a woman. Some more pictures. Gabby again. Look at how wide that neck is. Now remember, a man has 10% more brain matter than a female. So because of that, he has a larger cranial space to carry all that weight. Now, because of the larger cranial head, there has to be a wide enough support base to support the heavy stuff on top, because it's normal in anything that you're building. If you have something heavy on top, you have to have a wide enough base below to support it. So that's why a man's neck is always wider and bigger and stronger than a female, because he needs to support the heavy head, which has 10% more brain matter. Now looking at this, can you see that this is a dude? All right, some more pictures. Can you see that again? And this is Gabby hugging one of his teammates, so that we also have on this particular channel. I think that this is Ali Raisman. But you can see the straightness of the back of Gabby. Straight. There's no arch in the back. Straight into the pelvis. And this is the pelvis right here. This bum area down here. Two males. And this is Gabby that I think, this is Ali Raisman, and you can see this is male too. We already have a video on Ali Raisman. You can actually go look that up. But the widest point, as you can see right here, is above the crotch, not below it. Remember, I told you, it's just going to be just below the bum line for a female, the hips. All right? Some more pictures of Gabby. Look at that again. Is that a man or a woman? Can you see that? That's a dude. All right? A dude in makeup with a skirt. And someone's going to look at this and be attracted to it. That's why you can't have no role models that you watch on TV or people you trust. They are all working for the Vatican. And like I've said, they are all raised through surrogacy. All right? In vitro fertilized through surrogacy. That's how they bring these children into the world. Okay? Some more pictures of Gabby. Look at that again. See that? It's a straight back. See, it's straight right here. Straight into the pelvis. There's no arch. I have some sort of pity for Gabby Douglas, because I know they were taken as all children. But the reason why I don't pity them for too long is because this is what I say to a lot of people. Right? Because some people may say they don't know. They've been brainwashed. They'll just believe it. I always say this. You may not have money, all right, to solve your problems. You may not have the power. You may not have the authority, all right, to solve your problems. But you have a mouth. You can always talk. No matter what has been taken away from you, your mouth has not been taken away from you. Speak up. As long as you do not speak, that means you're in an agreement with what is happening to you. So even though they may be victims, but as long as they are not speaking up, that means they love your servitude. So I have no pity for anyone like that, because they are contributing to the problem. All right, some more pictures of Gabby. And look at that, straight back, straight into the pelvis. Can you see that? Straight back, straight into the pelvis, no arch. Okay, some more pictures. Look at that. Where's the hips at? Where's the widest point on this hip right here? Can you guys take a look? Because this is all muscle. The widest point is right there. Because this is the pelvis of a dude. And look at that pubic arch. 90 degrees or less. No woman will have that kind of pubic arch. No matter how small the pubic arch of a female is, it's always going to be wider than that of a male. That's a fact. All right. Some more pictures. Gabby again, straight back, straight, straight. I'm going to blow this up as much as I can. Straight. Okay. Some more pictures. Look at that again. Straight back, straight, 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 straight into the pelvis. No arch, because this is a dude. Does it have a tilted pelvis here? Can you guys check and see? No, there's no tilted pelvis. If this is a woman, this pelvis will be tilted forward, slanting forward. It wouldn't be this straight because this is the straightness of a man's pelvis. All right, some more pictures. Okay, so I think with that, let me just check and be sure if that's the last picture. So that was the last picture, all right? And we've come to the end of today's show. So, like I usually say, because we have a lot of haters and agents on this channel, and I just have to say this: it doesn't make any sense for you to watch a stupid video and sit through the whole entire video and then leave a comment. It doesn't make any sense. If you find the video stupid, just skip it over and move over. Don't leave stupid comments. And you agents need to get a hold of yourselves. Leave the videos for the people who want to learn, all right? There are other channels you can do all that nonsense with, but not on this one, okay? Leave the videos for us. Let us be stupid, because if you watch stupid videos, you become stupid. So if you think we're stupid, then leave us to our own stupidity, all right? So watch, subscribe, and I leave you with these words: look with your eyes and see with your brain. Thanks, and bye-bye.